Daily Edge, August 15, 2024. Quick snap. Bangladesh Bank Governor Ehsan H. Mansour plans to bring inflation under control within 4 to 5 months and has also given high priority to bringing stability in the forex market. US-based SP ratings agency has highlighted Bangladesh's weak banking sector, placing it near the top of its risk scale, 9 out of 10, in a recently released report. In capital market news, the appointment of Dr. Masroor Rees as chairman of the Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission, BSEC, has been put on hold as the Finance Ministry investigates several allegations brought against him. In other domestic news, MD Abdur Rahman has been appointed as the chairman of the National Board of Revenue. He was previously the Financial Institutions Division Secretary of the Ministry of Finance. In some positive news, the ADB and Malaysian Prime Minister have both shown support to the new government of Bangladesh and, 2. The UN has decided to launch a UN-led investigation to probe the killings of protesters during recent unrests very soon. Ending today's commentary on the energy front, Summit LNG terminal is unlikely to resume operations this summer due to fresh damage to the seabed pipeline structure, which will prolong Bangladesh's energy crisis. News items. New BB governor hopes to contain inflation within 4 to 5 months. New BB governor vows to chase money launderers. Bangladesh Bank, BB. Governor Ehsan H. Mansour has said the inflation will be controlled within 4 to 5 months. After a meeting at the Finance Ministry on Wednesday, the new governor said the foreign exchange reserves will be used in importing essential commodities after keeping aside a comfortable amount of reserves to control inflation. Finance and Planning Advisor Dr. Salehuddin Ahmed said the government has initiated all types of steps to control inflation. A reasonable time is required for getting the results, he added. Newly appointed Bangladesh Bank, BB, Governor Dr. Ehsan H. Mansour on Wednesday said the central bank will give utmost priority to containing inflationary pressure and bringing stability in the forex market. Bangladesh's banking sector risks elevate. Banking sector near top of risk scale. SP Global Ratings on Wednesday said the political situation in Bangladesh has exacerbated the banking industry's frailties, including weak liquidity, thin capital buffers, and ailing asset quality. We see risk of policy inaction and a potential slowdown in financial reforms, said SP Global Ratings credit analyst Shinoe Verghese. SP Global Ratings, an American credit rating agency, placed Bangladesh's banking sector near the top of its risk scale, assigning the nation a score of 9 out of 10 on its Banking Industry Country Risk Assessment Scale, with 10 representing the weakest ranking. Appointment of Masroor Rees as BSEC chairman put on hold. The appointment of Dr. Masroor Rees as the chairman of Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission, BSEC, has been put on hold. The Finance Ministry has decided to investigate some allegations brought against him. The notification regarding Masroor's appointment was removed from the website of the Financial Institutions Division under the ministry on Wednesday, following the instruction of the division secretary. Abdur Rahman made new NBR chairman. Newly appointed chairman of the National Board of Revenue, NBR, MD Abdur Rahman has pledged to ensure smooth access to taxpayers in a bid to increase country's tax-GDP ratio. MD Abdur Rahman Khan, who was Financial Institutions Division Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, MOF, got the appointment as the new chairman of the NBR on Wednesday. Talking to the FE on Wednesday, Mr. Rahman said both businesses are country's main drivers to generate employment and major contributors to the economy. UN-led probe to be launched soon. Volker Turk tells Dr. Yunus. ADB to support Yunus-led government for Dev. The UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk has made a phone call to Bangladesh Interim Government Chief Advisor Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus and said a UN-led investigation will be launched very soon to probe the killing of the protesters during the student revolution. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, will work with Professor Muhammad Yunus-led interim government to support Bangladesh's development, a spokesperson of the lender said at a statement on Wednesday. ADB is fully committed to our long-standing partnership with Bangladesh, supporting its sustainable development in alignment with the aspirations of its people, The ADB Dhaka office in a statement through email informed the FE. Malaysia stands ready to help in restoring peace, security in BD. Malaysian Prime Minister, PM, Anwar Ibrahim has assured Bangladesh Interim Government Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus his country stands ready to support the interim government in rebuilding and restoring peace and security in the country, reports UNB. Professor Yunus has long-standing good ties with Malaysia. Thus, I assured him Malaysia stands ready to help and support the interim government in rebuilding and restoring peace and security in Bangladesh, said the Malaysian PM. Summit LNG terminal unlikely to resume operation this summer. Summit LNG terminal is unlikely to resume operations this summer due to fresh damage to the seabed pipeline structure, sources said. The Singapore-based service provider, hired by Summit, identified damage to the disconnectable turret mooring, DTM, plug in the subsea landing pad that holds the floating storage regasification unit, FSRU, to the mooring facility, they added. The provider took photographs of the damage, according to sources. Hasina statements from India not conducive to bilateral relations. Dhaka Wednesday conveyed to Delhi that deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's statements emanating from India are not conducive to fostering better bilateral relations, and also raised some irritants in the ties. Foreign advisor of the interim government in Bangladesh Tauhid Hossain mentioned the matters to Indian High Commissioner Pranay Varma during a meeting. It causes unease in Bangladesh, the advisor told reporters after the meeting with Mr. Varma, when the latter paid a courtesy call on him. Dr. Yunus asks garment manufacturers to help rebuild nation. Chief advisor of the interim government Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus on Wednesday asked the country's garment manufacturers to help rebuild the nation after 15 years of plunder by the dictatorship of Sheikh Hasina. The chief advisor said the interim government inherited a broken economy, and they now face a tough job of fixing the country and steering it to a growth path, reports BSS. All the institutions were broken. We were in a mess. They left us in an economic crisis. But, with the cooperation of everyone, we can rebuild the nation. Professor Yunus told the leaders of the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association, BGMEA, at his office at the State Guest House Jamuna. Expats keen to remit through banking channel. Bangladeshi expatriates are now upbeat about sending remittance back home through the formal channel, as they rest reassured that the country is on track after the formation of an interim government. Migrants abroad raised voices against the Sheikh Hasina government's oppression of people during the unrest created over the student movement. In solidarity with the movement, they started posting comments on popular social network Facebook about not sending remittances to Bangladesh until the resignation of her government. 40 companies failed to repatriate $588 million in export proceeds. 40 companies in Dhaka and Chattogram, including controversial Crescent, Bismillah and Beximco groups, have not repatriated export proceeds amounting to $588 million by engaging in irregularities and manipulation over at least 10 years, according to 2 central bank reports that listed the top such companies. Among the companies, the top 20 Dhaka-based companies have not brought in $559 million, while the top 20 Chattogram-based firms have not repatriated approximately $30 million in export proceeds. In total, these 40 companies have yet to bring nearly BDT 70 BN back to the country. Private Banks Association seeks extension on term loan repayment. Not all members align. The Bangladesh Association of Banks, BAB, has requested the Bangladesh Bank for an extension of 6 months for the repayment of term loans, citing the current economic challenges as the primary reason for their request. However, several members of the association opposed the request. The Association of Private Bank Owners and Directors sent a letter to the central bank on July 31st in this regard. The letter, signed by BAB Chairman MD Nazrul Islam Mazumdar, was addressed to the then governor of Bangladesh Bank, Abdur Rauf Talukdar, who recently resigned following the change in government. Beximco leaves Janata Bank in poor health. What is the purpose of a single borrower exposure limit? It is to ensure that a bank's fortune is not tied to the ebb and flow of a conglomerate's business. But this rule, documents show, was not enforced by state-owned Janata Bank in the case of Beximco Group, arguably the largest conglomerate in the country led by Salman F. Rahman, the private industry and investment affairs advisor of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, a post that afforded him the rank of a minister. Crisis in banks deeper than anyone could imagine. Experts and businesspeople yesterday urged the newly formed interim government to adopt urgent measures to ensure good governance in the banking sector, saying that the crisis in financial institutions is much deeper than anyone could imagine. They also demanded punishment for those involved in financial crimes in banks and financial institutions. Assets of Salam Group may help salvage Islami Bank. How Salam Group took advantage of Islami Bank to take out BDT 450 BN loan to salvage Islami Bank. Bangladesh. The interim government will have to recover money by seizing all assets of Salam Group, responsible for the present sorry state of the lender. Salam Group and its sister concerns have reportedly taken around BDT 500 billion in the last 7.5 years in violation of banking rules, making Islami Bank suffer from a severe liquidity crisis. The business conglomerate did so by forcefully taking control over the bank in 2017, leveraging its political connection with the then Awami League-led government. After the resignation of the Bangladesh bank governor, Abdur Rauf Talukder, on Monday, the BB announced that it would reduce liquidity support to 9 ailing banks, including Islami Bank. However, the bank had been running on liquidity support for the past 18 months. The interim government should take steps to recollect money by seizing all assets of Salam Group and the entities that received loans and defaulted on them, said Famida Khatun, executive director of the Center for Policy Dialogue, CPD. Chinese company to invest $6.7 million in Uttara EPZ. Chinese company Mago, Bangladesh, Ltd. is going to invest $6.7 million to set up a collectible items and toys manufacturing factory at Uttara Export Processing Zone, UEPZ, in Nilphamari. This foreign-owned company will annually produce 700,000 pieces of collectible items and toys. Die-cast, plastic, plush fabric, reads a press release. CTG port sets single-day delivery record. Freight train increased to ease backlog. The country's main seaport Chattogram has achieved a milestone by delivering 5,100 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent unit, of containers in the past 24 hours from 8 a.m. on Tuesday till 8 a.m. on Wednesday. This was the highest delivery in a single day at Chattogram Port, its secretary Omar Farouk told the Business Standard. The record comes following huge congestion at the port owing to disruptions caused by the nationwide unrest and subsequent internet outages since mid-July. National Tea Placement Subscription extended for 1 month. National Tea Company Limited has extended the subscription period for its placement shares by 1 month, now set to close on September 19th. Previously, the closing date was set for August 19th, with the subscription having initially begun on July 19th. Palak Tuku, arrested from Nikunja police on Wednesday night, arrested former state minister for posts, telecommunication and information technology, Zunaid Ahmed Palak, and former Deputy Speaker Shamsul Haq Tuku from the capital's Nikunja residential area. Obaidur Rahman, additional Deputy Commissioner of Police, confirmed the matter to a local online portal. Deposed PM Hasina sued in 3 more cases. At least 3 more cases have been filed against deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on charges of crimes against humanity, genocide, murders, and abductions during her rule. Her cabinet members and police high-ups are co-accused in the cases filed Wednesday with the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka and the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate, CMM, court in the capital city. Metro Rail restart in doubt as workers strike over pay. The Metro Rail operation, announced to resume Saturday next week by the new interim government at its first advisory council meeting, is now unlikely to restart as striking employees continued their work stoppage until Wednesday, sources said. It is now certain the MRT Mass Rapid Transit Line 6 operation cannot be resumed Saturday next week due to not having enough trial time, said an insider.